Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Saturday edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. And if it is a Saturday edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, that can only mean one thing, and one thing only. It's that it's a big pay-per-view weekend. A pape is about to fall upon us. Happens to be on Sunday. Happens to be WWE Wrestlemania Backlash. We've stepped it up. Not just your run-of-the-mill rigmarole Backlash. No, this one has stakes. It's a big-time Backlash because it's a WrestleMania Backlash, which is really, really strange. Not really, really strange, but you know, it's not that it's strange, but we have we are currently about to preview the card. The WrestleMania Backlash card. And we're going to be doing it today with our guest, our usual guest, Kristen Ashly, who I suddenly cannot hear me anymore. She's texting me. She's staring at me, but she can't hear me anymore. Hang on a second. Why is this happening? This is very strange. Because we were talking just a few minutes ago. Let's go see over here. Is this better, Kristen? Kristen, is this better? She can't hear me at all for some reason.
Try again.
Hello?
Yeah, it's better.
Because we can hear you.
Oh.
Yeah, we can hear you, no problem.
I couldn't hear you at all.
For a second, you were like completely, like, you know.
Well, I was like.
So I thought, oh, did she freeze up or something?
No, I just didn't know what to say because it like got warbly and then I couldn't hear anything at all.
So let's backtrack a little bit because I might edit this out of the podcast audio. Just saying, don't want to sound like a complete goof. So we're going to be recapping the big show, the big WWE Wrestlemania Backlash show. We're going to be doing it here live, recorded on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. Very, very live. And as per usual, I am
cutting out again.
What?
You're cutting out again.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
This is strange because it's not even the same audio feed that I'm using now.
Like, it's fine now, but you like go and then it just stops after a point, and then I can't hear anything.
I don't know what to do.
I guess I don't know. I don't know. We'll try it out.
Okay. So let's try it again.
Sorry everyone.
So we are going to be recapping the WWE Backlash show, WrestleMania Backlash show. We're going to be doing this here live today on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. Oh God, it is so very live right now. And I am doing it today, joined by none other than the founder of Bell to Bells. She herself is here, Kristen Ashly. Kristen, hello, and how are you today?
I'm doing great. I can't hear you, but I just mouth read. So.
Okay.
I don't know if it's my computer. I'm really sorry.
Okay. I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna head back to the pre-roll. I'm gonna try and do something because I think we need to fix this. We'll be right back. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Okay, hello again, everyone. Hopefully, we've got our fingers crossed here. Kristen with her mint-tipped fingers they're crossed. We're hoping everything works now. Okay, I think we've got it sorted out. Let's pray and hope. So, one more time. We're gonna do this one more time with feeling. And now we're going to be recapping the big WrestleMania Backlash pay-per-view that is happening tomorrow night, Sunday. It's still not working, Kristen? No? Okay, well turn it off. Turn it off, but I'm pretty sure that's not what it is. You can turn it off.
Hello?
Turn the thing off then. Then we'll try that. Okay?
I hear ya.
Okay. I'm sorry, folks.
Now I hear you. I hear clacking. I don't hear you. I did.
Okay. So can you hear me? Is it better now? No, it's not better because you're not.
No, it's not.
This is weird because when we're not streaming, everything is okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't know what else we can do. I really don't.
I don't either.
Because right now, I think due to the fact that you turned off NDI, I don't think anyone else can hear you.
Guess we record.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks. Give us a sec. I apologize. All right, folks, hang with us again. Just a second. We're going to use something else outside of Skype here. I just have to fix this a little live. You're seeing a little behind the scenes here, a little what do you call it? Inside baseball was the word I was looking for. So give me a quick second here. There we go. No, not necessarily that. There, okay, so now we can see Kristen again. Hooray! So that's a good thing. It's okay, and we'll get this all fixed up. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday. Oh, my mouse isn't working. What the hell, man? Come on. There we go. There we go. You can do it, mouse. Yeah, all we wanted, I'm kind of thinking, like Kristen just says, all we want to do is talk about Backlash. I'm kind of thinking, Vince might be counter-programming at this point. No, I don't think so. All right, let's get you a little, just like that. Okay. This should work. This should work. Hey, come on. Evan, I see you in the chat right now. Okay, I see you in the chat right now. How long has it been since we've had tech issues? Now, let's be fair here. Let's call it down the middle.
Wow. You can blame me, guys. It's been 2.5 years since I've been on a show of his, so we can totally blame me.
Hey, I am super cool blaming Kristen. I am okay with that.
Stupid Mac. That's probably what it is.
So here's what I suggest we do. I think we pretend that the past 20 minutes did not happen, and we're going to run through the intro again. How does that sound?
I love your intros.
Right? My intros are the best. We're going to run through here, and we're all just going to pretend as if we're just landing and everyone's super happy, okay? And that'll just take away a whole bunch of editing time for me. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to a brand new out of the blue edition, a Saturday edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. My God, man. If it's Saturday and I'm doing a stream, then there's a reason for that. There is an absolute reason for that. That means there's a There's a pay-per-view on the horizon, just within arm's reach of us. And it just so happens that this weekend it is the big WWE Wrestlemania Backlash pay-per-view, not your rigmarole dollar store, happy fun time Backlash. No, this is WrestleMania Backlash. The things that are happening here are backlashed from WrestleMania, and we are going to be running down that card today. Right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, where we're recording live. Oh God, are we ever recording live? And we're going to be talking about that. Plus, at the end of the show, we're also going to be talking about the WWR Plus Beyond Wrestling show that's happening tomorrow as well, a little before Backlash. But we're gonna talk about that more towards the end. To me, that's kind of the main event. But anyway, well, in reality, we know who the main event is. It is my guest who is joining me today on the show. None other than Kristen Ashly, co-owner of BellToBells.com, wrestling writer extraordinaire, and first lady of the MrWarrenHayes Show Discord. How are you, Kristen? Welcome to the program.
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome. Thank you for accepting my invitation. Well, I am glad that you're here. I mean, it's a good time. We like to talk about WWE for good or ill, you and I, on all sorts of levels, and there's honestly a lot to talk about in regards to WWE these days, so it'll be good to get into, and I'm glad that we're being joined here today by a whole slew of people who have decided to take time out of their day to join us, such as Thomas Goris, who's here. Good to see you, Thomas. We have Injection 2K, who's here as well. Mr. Fantastic, Evan Wright is here as well. Iron Entertainment, Tim Traver. Good to see everyone joining us live here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. And of course, as we're going along and so on and so forth, please feel free to let us know your predictions. As you know, we're going to be giving out our predictions, but we'd like to know what you guys think as well. But before we actually get into the predictions per se, this is the first pay-per-view that we've had that WWE's putting on. Not that we've had as wrestling fans, we've had others. But it's the first pay-per-view that WWE is putting on since WrestleMania. It's been a few weeks. This is where we are right now. Tell us, Kristen. Tell me your feelings about the WWE these days. How do you feel? What kind of state is it in now that we're moving into this pay-per-view this weekend?
I feel like we get so much hype leading up to WrestleMania that there's sort of this cooling down period now until SummerSlam.
Right.
And so, expectedly, it's been a little boring. It's been a little sluggish. A little lack of creativity, we'll say that.
Sure.
With a lot of the storylines. So, kind of damper my expectations quite a bit.
So right now you're dampering your expectations because it hasn't been great.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
I mean, look, we talk about it often, and there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems that do exist in regards to pay-per-views these days. Not in pay-per-views, but in WWE in general. Raw is an extremely difficult show to watch, a really, really tough one to get through. Is it mostly the creative that's not doing it for you, or is it the matches that you're having trouble with, or a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B? Like, what's your feeling?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the main roster's problem is always mostly creative. It seems like, well, right, like we just get rehash after rehash after rehash after rehash, all leading up to the same match on a pay-per-view. And so we see the same 6 people over and over again. There's always like really stupid overbooked finishes. Nothing makes sense. Occasionally you'll get a good promo moment, and always the wrestling's okay, right? The wrestling is, I mean, they have the best in the world. So I think the strong suit is that the wrestling's always really killer, but they're having to make up for the lack of stories. It just seems like creative doesn't care. Like,
right.
WrestleMania's done. We got a few months till we really have to put in some effort again. Let's just take a break. Let's just copy paste. That's basically what it feels like. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, we saw just last night on SmackDown, a match that we got at WrestleMania and even before WrestleMania happened again. Results were different, but that's, I think it's a valid critique, that it's basically always the same types of matches. Excuse me. It's always the same matches within the same group of people who are always involved, and I think that it does get boring and it is tedious, and it's always weird that they cycle through these same matches with these same people on the time when they have such a depth of wrestlers that they could be using. It's very strange to me.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have very long, right? It's like a month, maybe a month and a half from WrestleMania until Backlash. And so they don't have a lot of time to go from a feud that happened leading up to WrestleMania at WrestleMania till Backlash. So it makes sense that they would just keep the same feuds because there's not enough weeks.
Oh, because it's a Backlash, right?
Right. I think it's a pointless pay-per-view, if I'm being quite honest. I think they can wait because it is just rehashing, which they have done on their weekly programming week after week.
Oh, I gotta concur with you. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna agree. I want to say hello to Evolution, who has joined us in the chat, as well as Swiss Roll Chris. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Let's get to it then, Kristen. Let's start diving right into the pay-per-view. I'm going to go through the matches in reverse order as they are presented on WWE.com. So building up to what is probably going to be expected to be their main event. Let's get to it. First match that we're going to talk about, Damian Priest, I know your favorite wrestler of all time, versus The Miz in one of my killer tier, top tier stipulations, a lumberjack match. I don't like lumberjack matches. So this one comes off the heels of the Bad Bunny stuff, right? This is this is, I mean, if you wanted a match to define WrestleMania Backlash, well, this is it right here. You know, it's a match that happened because of what happened at WrestleMania. How do you tell me about this match? This is one that's been brewing, it's been building for a while. Damian Priest call up from NXT. Miz a long-term good hand for the company.
Well, the positive. Let's start with the positive. The positive is that Miz and Morrison have been a highlight week after week. They're hilarious. They're incredibly entertaining. I will be the first to admit that I didn't care for Morrison right off the bat, and the two of them though have changed my mind. Priest, so Bad Bunny leaves for tour, and Priest just kind of gets like the leftover hand-me-down.
Sure.
I guess feud. I mean, he's just like, I guess I'll keep feuding with you. And it was sort of I already found Priest to be pretty boring.
Now, you didn't care for him much in NXT.
I thought he was very boring. And it's not necessarily his fault. I just find him very boring. And now that he's on main, even more so, right? Like even more boring. He comes in with this secondhand feud, and now he's left with this secondhand feud. And it's the only non-title match on the card, at least so far. Mm-hmm. And it's a weird stipulation. He chose the stipulation. Why? It's so weird.
I have no idea. I really don't. By the way, chat, let us know who you think is going to win here. Damian Priest, or is Miz going to get some of his heat back? I think Damian Priest is, well, I mean, look, we disagree on quite a few things behind the scenes. We put on a good face for the viewing public, but we're constantly at each other's throats.
Yeah. Always fighting.
And one of the things that I think that we do disagree on is Damian Priest, because I Punishment Martinez I've always liked. I loved his work in PWG. He was the kind of guy that you looked at and you're like, this guy is destined for WWE, right? Like at some point, this guy, he's tailor-made. I'm still shocked that he finally made WWE like in his late 30s. I was convinced they were going to pick him up before that. He wasn't very exciting in NXT. I'll grant you that. I think his character direction was all over the place. 1 week he's a jackass, the next week he's a rock star and he's in a hot tub with babes and he's a heel and he's a face and everyone gets boring on main. And I think we're going to talk about that in a little while too. The Bad Bunny situation was probably the best for him because I think it gave him something interesting to do, thrust him into the spotlight. I think his matches with Morrison over the past couple of weeks, even though they reran them a few times, they were fun. There were highlights on Raw. I really enjoyed them. I think this is really a guy who's doing the best with the hand he's being dealt. It's not a great hand, but it's not the worst either. There are people in a much worse off position than he is on main roster right now. He could be doing a lot worse than Miz. If only Miz, this is, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. I'll let you speak in a second. But if only they let Miz be, Intercontinental Champion heel Miz. Yeah. When he was with the Axel and Dallas, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, he was prime every week. His promos were appointment viewing. He was really good. Now he just, I think his heel character is, uncool heel dad. and it just there's some edge missing to him, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I know, like, I don't like Priest, but I know it's not Priest's fault. I don't not like him as a person. I don't know him. And he was good prior to coming to WWE, but that's everyone's story, right? WWE, it has their problem is having too much of a good thing and not knowing what to do with it. Mm-hmm. So I just think how he's being used is incredibly boring. I didn't like his, like, I don't know what his gimmick was, an extra from Underworld. Like, that's what he looked like to me.
the vampire werewolf movie.
Yeah, like with the ring and the I just thought it was so stupid. And so, yeah.
He's an archer of infamy.
Yeah.
I shoot the flaming arrows. Whiting.
But like I'm sure we'll also talk about later, is that they don't know what to do with their big guys.
Yeah, sure.
And so he's just, it's too much of a good thing. Miz will make this match because he's an entertainer and he knows how to entertain us. Priest will wrestle because he knows how to wrestle. I would normally be okay with this match as just being a singles match until they threw in the lumberjack stipulation.
I fucking hate lumberjack matches. I hate them so bad. But please continue.
Typically, historically, heels, which would be Miz, love these matches because it sort of stacks it on one side to their advantage. There tends to be chaos. There tends to be, interference. I can understand where he might think Miz would try to escape the match, and that's why he's doing it. But I think there's better and more fun stipulations to do that with than this boring ass lumberjack match. So I guess in a basic level, I'm interested to see what actually happens with the lumberjacks outside, right? Who shows up? Do they interfere? Or are we just wasting everyone's time?
The one thing that I think would be really cool is if they brought, like, and I think you mentioned it last night on Twitter, right? That Keith Lee hasn't been around for a while, right?
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool if at least you're going to do a lumberjack match, give us a surprise return, like something like that in it, because otherwise, because they're always the same finishes. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the chat, we seem to be saying that Miz needs his heat back, pal. I think Damian Priest should win. I think he should. For a bunch of reasons. Build new stars, pal. What do you think, Kristen? Who do you think is going to win?
I think likely it's going to be Priest. They seem to be slowly pushing him. They did put him with Bad Bunny, which they obviously, WWE has put a lot of stock into. So I do think that they want to push him.
Right.
So I think he'll likely win because he needs the win. But honestly,
think so too.
I would love for this stipulation to kind of backfire in a way and benefit Miz because he will be smug and hilarious about it.
It will add some character to it. So are we saying that your official prediction is Damian Priest?
My official prediction,
like, if you have to, like, let's say Jesus comes down from the heavens, comes to you and says, Kristen, you can pick one winner here.
I don't lie to Jesus, so I'd say I'm not invested enough to care. But if I had to choose, it would be Damian Priest. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom Campbell is in the chat. How you doing, Tom? Good to see you. Look at that. He says, I only like lumberjack matches when the wrestlers actually dress like lumberjacks. Bring that back. That used to
Flannel.
be that indeed used to be a thing. Anyway, nice to see you, Tom. Good to see you.
Hey, Tom.
Let's move on. SmackDown Tag Team Champions Dolph Ziggler and Roode are going to be taking on Rey Mysterio and baby champ Dominik Mysterio.
How long is it going to take him to bring that up?
Not long at all. No, straight out the gate. He is, in my mind, he's doomed. Okay, I think for this one, you need to go back. Like, there's so many things I want to say at once. Tell me about the tag team. This tag team match, Kristen. How do you feel about it? Do you think it's a good representation of the deep SmackDown tag team division?
Literally in my notes that, like,
you have notes?
I have notes
You're
on this.
prepared?
Yeah, I know.
God damn, you're a pro?
It's not the tech part of it, right? So I was trying to look at the backstory of how this feud even came to fruition, and I even got more confused trying to look at it, right? Because they had all these like mixed, like all these like 40-man tag matches with like the Street Profits and Otis and Chad, and none of it makes sense. So I guess my analysis is like, I have no idea where WWE is going with this division, and I don't think they do either. And the feud has very little to justify the match, besides them, I guess, calling Dominik baby champ. Or baby, whatever.
Can we hang on a second? Last night, like, here's the thing. Outside of whatever I did on Twitter that kept me awake for a part of the night, Bobby Roode calls him Baby Dom, and in his mind, Dominik thinks to himself, I'm going to be calling myself, you'll be calling me Baby Champ. In his brain, he's thinking this is a good comeback. Now, who thinks you're going to be calling me Baby Champ? Who thinks that's a good comeback? And Ray, his father, legendary luchador who's wrestled around the world, Rey Mysterio, goes, oh, Baby Champ. As if it's... Oh.
See, you saw him say it that way. And for me, when I saw Ray say that, it looked to me like, Baby Champ.
Oh, you
like,
thought...
Like, it looked to me like he was going, Baby Champ?
You think like he was like, son, you shouldn't have said that? That's
maybe because my filter, because I think that, like, it just muddies up that. But it looked to me like, how do you not break in that moment and go, you just like Baby Champ? Is that a good thing?
And of course, if you want to go meta on top of this, there is a room of television writers who scripted that, put it on a sheet of paper, and gave it to Dominik. And we're like, here you go, here's your line.
And he didn't say, no.
And these people are paid highly for their writing talents for television on a weekly basis. Baby Champ. Honestly, I think the tag team division is a mess. Well, I mean, it's not that there's a mess. There's no depth to it. There's 4 tag teams on SmackDown. Now, as for a winner, if we want to pick a winner here, I think you have to go back to WWE Booking 101, where 2 weeks ago, Bobby Roode got pinned by Baby Champ. Last night, Rey Mysterio defeated Dolph. So I think that is an indication that the champs are retaining on Sunday, because that's how WWE works. I think Roode and Ziggler hang on to the titles. What do you think, Kristen?
I do not, actually. And I think Mysterios are going to get it. And I only think they're going to get it because WWE has been dropping some slight hints with verbiage lately. You know, like on their site, they say, you know, Ray and Dominik will attempt to become the first father and son tag team champs in history.
Oh, they do like, okay.
Yeah. But, you know, and it doesn't necessarily, because they've done that before and then it never comes to fruition. But for me, it feels like just these subtle, subversive drops. I find the Dirty Dogs' reign has been incredibly boring.
Because there's no teams. There's no teams. There's no one.
It's so boring. And they've been, 128 days, something like that now. So they've only defended it twice.
What? It's been that long?
Since January. So they've only defended it twice. And both times were in April. And so, and also Roode has not faced either Mysterio, recently at least, in singles action. So I'm so bored by this. I've been stripped of all emotional involvement.
Sure.
I don't really care who wins, frankly. I will say though that the 4 of them will make up for it in skill. We always have a good time watching Mysterio matches. Ziggler is always really entertaining in the ring. Even Dominik, I will say, is solid. So what this feud, I know, That's new. It hurt to say. What this match lacks an interesting story, it will make up for skill in the ring, I think.
Okay, that's interesting. And you know what? I think you may have slightly swayed me, if only because of the fact that you said that. Yeah, I know. If only it would be on important shit, right? You may have slightly swayed me on the just by saying that it's first time ever father son. Boy, WWE like their first times evers.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah. The only issue I have with this is then where does Ziggler and Roode go? Where does any of their
I mean, look. I mean, I've been saying this for I think since last fall. Never mind having a SmackDown tag titles, Raw tag titles, unify them, have them be floating titles, just like the women's belts. Just because they have 4 tag teams on one side, and I think now they have 5 on Raw, something like that. I could be wrong, but that's all really you need to do. Just unify the belts instead of keeping them separate. You don't have the depth to do it. And I just maybe in the chat, maybe chat could let us know, because we're talking about Hook, Taz's kid. In the chat.
We're not even talking about Backlash.
No, I know, but who would win in a fight, Rey Mysterio or Hook? Shout out to Garrett Kidney, by the way. So who are you picking? Exactly?
The Mysterios.
The Mysterios. Okay, so we're at odds on this one. I think the champs retain.
Okay.
Universal Championship match. The champ, the head of the table, the guy who wants to be acknowledged, Roman Reigns versus Cesaro. Look, for a lot of people, this match has been a long time coming. The Cesaro section has been vocal for years in regards to Cesaro being a top guy, getting opportunities that he's not getting. Don't necessarily have to run through everything that he's done, how much he's considered to be one of the best wrestlers to have ever done it, and one of these quintessential wasted talents in WWE. I think when we look back at his career, as opposed to what he used to do in Ring of Honor, for instance, but now here he is. He's getting a big time match against Roman Reigns, who is the biggest heel in the company. Roman Reigns doing some of the best work, if not the best work, of his entire career. Tell me about this match, Kristen. How do you feel about it?
I feel like it was a great feud until they some reason involved Rollins, right? They weren't ready to close that random circle with Rollins and Cesaro, that feud. They weren't ready to close it. So then Cesaro faces Rollins, and if he wins, then he gets to face Roman at Backlash. What? That makes less sense than the rehash. Doesn't make any sense at all.
As if the Shield still lives on, kind of.
Right?
Thing.
Yeah, because then they give us little sneak peeks of them backstage, and what does that have to do with anything? I don't understand what he's there for, frankly, Rollins. So it seems like just and why is he helping Roman? Will he come to interfere? Does he need to? Does Roman really need another lackey? Because the more people they add to his crew, I feel the less credible he is as a champ. The more they start to interfere for him and fight his battles, and he just sits back and is head of the table with his belt, the less I feel like he's a fighting champ worth the title. I understand where they're going with it, but I just don't understand why Rollins was involved at all, which makes me think he's showing up at Backlash for sure. Somewhere.
Okay. To screw around with Cesaro.
Yeah. If there's a match on the card that I think won't end clean, it's this one for sure.
I mean, I think there's a very high chance of this match not ending clean because that's been Roman's deal, right? He'll he beat Daniel Bryan 2 weeks ago clean, and that was the first time in months. And I think it was a very important statement that was made there. Daniel Bryan on his way out, and I'm using air quotes for those of you who aren't staring at me right now. Roman going over him completely clean, no interference. That was a big statement in and about itself. And I think I think I think that's something that's going to happen because maybe they'll want to protect Cesaro in that way. But I have mixed feelings outside of the Seth Rollins thing in regards to this, because I was like, I'm glad that Cesaro is getting his shot here.
Yeah.
But it's never felt like it was Cesaro's spot. And WWE never acted like it was Cesaro's spot. Yeah. WWE had Cesaro lobby, basically, like live on TV for it. Have Daniel Bryan put him over and like literally take a microphone and say, Roman, I want you to fight Cesaro, you know? Like literally that's what. And then when that finally happens, Jimmy Uso returns, and now the story is about Roman and Jimmy, basically Jey Uso being in a love triangle with his family, you know, where they're like, no, you're on my side, no, you're on my side, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of feel like it's eclipsing the Cesaro thing, which makes me think that there's no absolute way in hell that Cesaro's winning the title tomorrow. Absolutely not.
I feel I'm thinking the exact same thing. The fact that they had Jimmy come back right before this match makes me think that Cesaro is playing second fiddle to the feud that they really want to build. And the feud that, frankly, I would rather see. And
the feud between the Usos. Yes, that's the thing. Is that I want to be clear here. I love that they're coming full circle on this, you know, because these are seeds that were planted. We know that WWE doesn't do long-term storytelling. Okay, that's fine. Let's just get this out of the way. But still, they're going back to something that happened last summer. They're coming back around with it in a very logical manner, with Jimmy being like, "Hey, Jay, what are you doing? You and I were great together. We did everything here. You don't have to be this guy's, you know, lackey, his Igor, you know, that's not who you are." And the dynamics that they're setting up, where Jimmy doesn't get involved in Roman stuff, but unless Jay starts getting beat up, then Jimmy runs in, kind of thing. And then last night, Roman ran in to save Jay from Cesaro, and you're like, oh, okay, so maybe Roman does really care about Jay. Like there's actual palpable layers, some intrigue here. It's good. It's good. But Cesaro! It's Cesaro!
Like, it's always great to see him get these opportunities. We've wanted this. He deserves it.
Yes.
But it doesn't feel like his opportunity.
No! He's like he's a story plot, a story device. You know, he's not even a story arc. He's just like, oh, well, this is the match, but all around, this is the cool shit. And I mean, good on them if they're going to set something up, something interesting, maybe for Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. Right. You know, all the rumors are that they want SummerSlam to be in front of people this year, right? That's that's their target. Yeah. So why not, you know, do something a little more long form with the Anoa'i clan, and I'm okay with that. People are into it. Roman is great. It's a good story to tell. I'm okay with it. And the matches are going to be good.
Right.
I don't know. It's just poor Cesaro, man. He can't cut a break. Even when he is in a world title situation, he's like, oh, well.
We can't win either. We sit here and we complain that creative's terrible, but when they do well with creative, it's at the expense of somebody who has deserved a shot for a while.
Good point.
And I think, you know, Jimmy's return is going to provide that nice conflict that we need. But I don't think Backlash is the place to start it. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here. The wrestling is what we're going to be tuning in for.
Yes. I mean, look, in my opinion, this has the potential to be the best match of the card. Like, I think this is going to be it. I think Cesaro's going to show up. I think he's going to do. And honestly, I think Roman's going to make him look like $1,000 million too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't think this feud serves Roman either. That's the thing. I think it serves nobody. And so I do think Roman retains. He's untouchable right now.
Oh no, for sure.
And I do think it should be an Uso to strip the belt. for sure.
There's in the chat we're saying Cesaro Evolution, I'll give full credit, says Cesaro wins either way by DQ or wins the title. So that's a very bold prediction. I could see him winning by DQ.
Yeah.
Very bold prediction.
Yes.
I'm just realizing this. Did you know that WWE WrestleMania Backlash is presented by Army of the Dead movie? Did you... From our favorite director, Zack Snyder. Chris?
I can't wait for the 15-hour director's cut with new footage. Don't get me started on that.
2 hours of it is, Batista improving his monologue. It's like...
Clearly have aged quite a bit,
All right, let's move on to the Raw Women's Championship match. Our champion, Rhea Ripley, faces Asuka and a little-known commodity fresh out of the PC, Charlotte Flair.
Homegrown.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, let's not start that now. Yeah, triple threat. Okay, I'm going to get this out of the way right now, Kristen.
Get it out of the way.
I think that this is the triple threat is probably the best situation if you want to involve Rhea Ripley and Asuka in your title picture, because Rhea Ripley and Asuka do not wrestle well together.
They don't. And
every time they've been in the ring, it's not good. It's not good.
Not just that, but their personalities. They don't let their personalities shine. And we know that they're great. We've seen them be great. So adding Charlotte Flair to this only makes me actually want to watch it more, frankly.
Do you feel like we're in a minority in regards to Charlotte?
I'm sure we are.
It feels like it sometimes. There are so many people who don't like her, and for multiple reasons. Most of the reasons are unjustified. Like if you were, here's a PSA, everyone.
Okay, I'll settle in.
If you don't like a wrestler, just come out and say, I don't like the wrestler. I don't like the wrestler. Instead of trying to invent reasons to convince yourself that you have actual tangible reasons for not liking. There are wrestlers that I don't like, that I just don't, I can't connect with. And I'm like, I'm not going to try and say, they're a terrible wrestler. It's like the people who say Kenny Omega's they don't like Kenny Omega, but Kenny Omega's I hate him because he's a terrible wrestler. No, that's a bad take. It's an awful take. Right. At least say, I don't like him because he's got a big pumpkin head. Okay, cool. That I can actually get behind.
Well, that's because no one's going to say that, because that means that they're a terrible, judgy person and they don't want to seem judged.
No, of course, since you're a smart wrestling fan, you have to have very broken down reasons as to why. Right. So, Charlotte Flair, well, she was given everything, silver spoon in her mouth. Her father rode her father's coattails. Okay. But let's go back to the match. What do you... Okay, how about let's start off with how's Rhea Ripley's main roster run been going since WrestleMania?
Well, she's a replacement, right? I mean, it always felt like the title wasn't really hers to begin with. What has intrigued me about this feud, we're just gonna get right to it, is Sonya Deville.
Oh,
Sonya Deville is the reason that Flair really is in this match.
True.
To begin with. Reinstates her. Doesn't even have her wrestle for an opportunity in the match. Just says, yeah, good argument to be in the match. You're in the match now. And Pierce is like, what? So and when you see Sonya and Charlotte together, you're like, this makes sense. There's something about this that makes a lot of sense to me. And I feel like that's the center point. So unfortunately, our champ and our previous champ and the people who deserve a lot of spotlights, I find like they're just side options. Like, I'm not really invested in what happens to Rhea and Asuka. Sure. I really just want to see what happens with Charlotte and Sonya. Yeah.
So we're kind of getting another Cesaro Roman Reigns situation here, where there's an outside angle here that makes the other thing much more compelling. But I mean, you mentioned, you said it, talking about their personalities. This is kind of what a lot of us were afraid of when Rhea was called back up. It was like, is she going to be? How are they going to treat her? Because when she was first called up last year, what they ended up doing with her was miserable. Taking away everything that made her good, that we found interesting. They bring her back to NXT. She's back to being badass, sneering Rhea Ripley, and they're like, yeah, awesome.
Right.
Now they bring her up again, and now she's like a dollar store version of herself, which is weird because she's still herself. Yeah. But then they feed her these lines, and you can tell she's uncomfortable reading them. And
Rhea was never meant to be a face. She wasn't.
No.
You look at her, you're frightened. You love her, but you're frightened. And that's who she should be. It's like the same thing with Toni Storm. If they take the NXT UK girls who were good in their roles at NXT UK and they completely change them, and that doesn't fit. I don't believe Toni is the heel, and I don't believe Rhea is a face. She's way more compelling when she's nasty and in your face and brutal, and that's believable. She's a tall, strong woman, and that's what she needs to be as a heel. It's just a classic case of WWE not letting their wrestlers be themselves.
Yeah.
Or letting them do what they're best at. Yeah. Which is the same thing with Asuka. Asuka doesn't have great English. Just let her talk, though. She's compelling. She's hilarious. She's got a wide range, and she's an amazing wrestler. Let her do her stuff.
I mean, look, Asuka is a great example of you don't necessarily, if you just let them do things. I mean, who would have figured that the Kabuki Warriors would work out the way they did if it wasn't for Asuka and Kairi, especially when Kairi started doing the laughing shtick. You remember that, right? Which was fantastic. When they both were just cutting these wild Japanese promos, just being so invested and wild with the makeup and the colors and this sensory overload kind of thing. And that it carried Asuka into another title reign last year, and she, along with Sasha and Bayley, and I will die on this hill, the three of them carried WWE throughout 2020. And now she's just someone else, and it's just wild to me that WWE can never seem to capitalize. God, they love the word momentum so much, right? They keep momentum, and when someone actually has momentum, they don't know what to do with it.
No, and I mean, this case of the rehash was the most frustrating to me. Every week, it's a different version of Rhea and Asuka and Charlotte, and then Rhea. And it's just so boring. And like you said, they're not great against each other. So they add in Charlotte, which she's great with everyone. And I just feel so bad for Rhea and Asuka because I know that they deserve really, really good reigns.
Yeah, but at this point, I'm like, never have either of them be next to each other in a wrestling match ever again. They stink. It just does not work. They wrestled again on Monday, and it was still bad. It was like, no, ladies. So I'm very nervous about this match. In the chat, there's some back and forth going on here. Thomas pulls up a pretty good point here. He says, "What's the point of having a developmental system where wrestlers perfect their character over several years, only to call them up and change the whole thing?" And I mean, this has been a theme going on. Like, even as far as in pure business sense, I don't understand what the return on investment is. If you put money into developing these personalities on NXT and then bring them up and start over, you just sunk so much money into making this personality, right? It's weird to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem is they're trying to cover all their bases with people liking them. So they just water down everyone's personality. Look at Nikki Cross. They just water down everybody because they think, well, if we just take this little quirk this person has and we just shove it down far down, people will watch us. And it's not the case. That's not why we watch wrestling. No. Frankly, the real star of this whole feud is Charlotte's promos. I'm so happy to have heel Charlotte back.
I like them. I know people are like, oh, she does the same thing over and over again. I will challenge you to listen to Ric Flair promos one next to each other for like 30 minutes and tell me they're not always the same thing. It's how she delivers them.
And I think one of the last ones that she did felt like a prompt for an eventual Becky Lynch return. I'm the best, I'm the reason.
Oh, for sure.
It felt like something's coming.
Okay, so here's a big question for you then, Kristen Ashly. Okay, first of all, let's get a few things out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Who's winning the match tomorrow, in your opinion?
I think Charlotte gets the title.
I think Charlotte gets the title as well. I don't think they're going to push Rhea further than this. I don't think it's working out exactly as they hoped.
I don't think Rhea should have gotten the title so quickly.
I don't think so either.
I really do think they had a problem of where do they put the title, so they placed it on her. And there's been no feud really to speak of. So it makes sense to give it to this conniving Charlotte right now.
Okay, so we both agree Charlotte wins. Who takes the pin?
Here's maybe not so bold prediction. I think there's going to be some interference. And I don't know how then Charlotte would win. But I think that there's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be from Sonya, someone unexpected, but I've got a feeling that there's going to be something about this match in particular that makes it more interesting. I don't know. I just got this feeling. I don't have any scoops.
Sure.
I'm not based on anything, but it's just this feeling that something else is going to happen and it won't be a clean finish.
But how will Charlotte retain the title is my question. Who does she if she not retain, win the title? If she wins the title, she has to pin or submit someone.
Well, I think Asuka would make sense.
Yeah, I think Asuka's in this triple threat exactly for that.
Yeah.
If anything, if they take the my feeling is if they take the title off of Rhea, they're at least going to protect her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they're going to do stuff. They like Rhea a lot. They like her a lot.
Oh, they like her a lot. No question about that.
I don't know what they'll do with either one of them going forward. But yeah, no, Asuka takes the pin.
And my last question: does Becky Lynch show up? I think this is the question that we've been asking since Royal Rumble, but let's keep at it. Does Becky Lynch show up at Backlash?
I would think not. If you're gonna have Becky come back, you're gonna wait till there's a crowd.
I think so too.
I think it would be a big mistake to bring her back at Backlash.
Especially since WWE, there's a big rumor going around that they want to start getting live audiences back.
Yeah.
They want to start performing in front of live audience back in July. I don't remember the exact date, like the 15, 16 July. But yeah, I think you wait for a live crowd. Like, honestly, I'm more of a guy where it's like, stop waiting and do it, Yeah. But I think in the case of Becky Lynch's return, you want the pop, you want the audible of the audience going nuts. You don't want just Bruce Pritchard turning the heat up to 11. That's not what you want.
Well, it's the same thing that happened with Bayley and Sasha. We all were waiting for that turn, but we wanted it to happen at the right moment. So
yes.
It's the same thing here. Yeah.
Want to say hello to Dale, Campbell. Good to see you. And Jason PS3. And just to wrap this one up, we have Evolution, who left an interesting thought here. I think Rhea retains, but Alexa comes out and does voodoo on either Charlotte or Asuka. Jump!
With the doll with the mini skulls sewed on that you get from the year-round Halloween store.
Hey, listen. Don't ever knock going to Spirit Halloween and getting shit on discount. It's the best. Never
love
buy,
Halloween
never
City.
buy the Wolfman animatronic at full price. Wait till it's discounted, people. Buy it for next year.
I wish every day was Halloween, but you're a billion-dollar company. Put a little more money in that production, please.
The SmackDown Women's Championship now is going to be on the line as well. Bianca Belair will be taking on one of you and I personal favorites of all time, Bayley. Bianca's first defense since WrestleMania. Her second match, her first singles match, second match since WrestleMania. I'm going to tell you, I dig it. I have no problem with reserving your champions for the big matches, for that's what you do with the champ. Not having, or you flip it around and you say, I'm a fighting champion, open challenge week after week. I like that kind of shit. And so if they saved Bianca, put her in a little corner and say, until WrestleMania, until Backlash, I am cool with that. I know some people are like, they're not having her wrestle. It's fine. It's fine. Makes her feel like a big deal. Main event Bianca. I like it.
Normally I'd agree, except for this is the women's division, who doesn't get, not even a quarter of the TV time. So
you've deflated me.
So normally, save your champs, but
I'm stuck.
Okay, I'll wait.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
But I will say that the way this happened, I am not mad at it. It makes complete sense to me in a very basic way that Bayley is waiting in the wings. You know, you can just see her with her eyes in her Karen haircut, just waiting in the wings for a pay-per-view match to come along where she can just insert herself. So why? I mean, she was a very, very long SmackDown Women's Champion reign holder. So why wouldn't she then go, give it back to me? Especially now that Sasha doesn't have it, right? Because it would make sense that she's a little afraid of Sasha, right? Now that Bianca's got it, I want it back. Now I can get it back. And she clearly has that confidence. So although there was not much build, it was like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, with the title match. I'm not mad at it. It makes sense to me. So
I'm going to be just a tad nitpicky because I can't be mad at this match. I just can't be. But I would have given okay. Bayley's a horsewoman, longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. I think you could have built to this one a little further down the line, especially now. But I'm being nitpicky, okay?
Yeah.
Let's say you say, "Hey, Warren, here's the book." I'm like, "Okay, cool." How does the book work? It's no, but you have Carmella hanging in the in the background. Carmella as a first defense, perfect. Comes out, has a little sass with Bianca. Some back and forth. But then, like you said, you can have Bayley in the background going, keeping her eye out. Just interjecting herself, because I think one of the things that we're missing out the most in an extended Bianca Bayley feud is banter, because I think both of them could have a lot of fun with it. We saw it on the promo last night. Wasn't necessarily all that great. Bayley being via satellite, I'm like, sure, but it's like, it's like there could have been many more moments to build to that, because Bayley's kind of a big deal, she's so you could have built to that, maybe make a Money in the Bank thing out of it, whatever. But I think Bianca could have gotten, a lower tier, solid defense against someone like Carmella. Wouldn't have harmed anyone, would have been a good little match, fun build up to lead us into a bigger program with one of their top champs, a woman who carried the company last year, former tag team champion, not Becky, but Bayley, those belts, remember?
Yeah.
So it's, but I'm nitpicking because I can't be mad about this in any way.
Right, and it could be the start. This could be the start of their feud, right? Like, it makes sense to go, well, I want it back. And then that starts now, because who else really is Bianca going to fight that's going to make us tune in week after week, So this could be the start of something maybe bigger down the line in a pay-per-view.
Yeah, because we're saying, Becky's coming back, might be coming. Who says Becky's going to go to Raw? No,
right.
Becky's, what are we talking
yeah,
about?
She's
Becky's
going to go to Raw.
but
I think there's nothing. I am all for a Bianca versus Bayley feud. It makes complete sense. Bayley with her Karen-ness.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I love the echo treatment they put on her cackle last night. I want that funny, as my phone ring.
I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it was great.
I don't know, but it was so good. And Bianca's just been very, head on her shoulders, just wants to work, just get the job done. And Bayley's the exact kind of opposite of that, right? So
I will tell you.
Feud.
You know what I miss, and this goes for all championships in WWE, right? It's not just the women's, but I think, having challengers actually win matches before being positioned as a champion, as a challenger, because WWE, what they do is like, they'll go, whoop, here's your challenger, and just drop them there. It's like, oh, and there's a lot of times it just comes out of nowhere, and you're like, why this person,
Right.
So, Bayley, she takes up a lot of space. She's a big personality, big attitude. So she's like, I'm coming in here to win the, so I get it. But it would have been nice for her to squash a couple of people, have a couple of, bring up someone from the PC, get some time in the big time ring and just have her roast plant a couple of fools.
Yeah.
I think that would have been fun. Honestly, maybe it's the old school part of me, but that's what I like about wrestling. It's just like, build me a challenger instead of telling me this is the challenger. That's how you make me care about wrestlers, ultimately. If they're winning and if they look good winning.
I agree.
Bianca retains, right?
Yeah. I think Bayley's going to make it a fun match. Both women are going to wrestle their ass off. But Bianca retains. I honestly feel like this is a placeholder for something bigger down the line.
I think you're probably right. Last match that we're going to be talking about is the WWE Championship. Robert Lashley defending against Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman. Kristen, it is our second triple threat match of the evening. It is for the big belt, the one with the lineage in the company. Okay. This is Bobby Lashley. I think he rules. I think he's been one of the best booked wrestlers of the entire past 12 months in WWE. Drew McIntyre, I think he's the closest thing to a legitimate looking champion that they have, maybe outside of Lashley. He conducts himself like a champion, looks like a champion, acts like a champion, has great matches on top of that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Braun Strowman couldn't give a shit. Honestly, I couldn't care less about Braun Strowman in any way, shape, or form. The last time I was remotely interested in what Braun Strowman was doing is when he almost electrocuted himself and Bobby Lashley that one time on Raw. That's pretty much it. Other than that, couldn't care. Couldn't care less about what's happening with him. So to me, this is WWE running through the WrestleMania main event again, but throwing Braun Strowman in there so that he can take the pin for one of the two other guys that they're clearly protecting. That's my analysis of this match.
The build to this match was it's another ridiculous it doesn't make sense. So Drew loses at WrestleMania and he comes back, he says it's due to interference from MVP. I want a rematch. That makes sense. Then they throw Braun and Randy Orton and Drew into a triple threat and said the winner gets the shot.
Sure.
Drew wins. Cool. Done, right? No, not done. Strowman says to Drew, if I win a match against you, I'm going to get added to the triple threat. And then it happens.
Yeah.
Why? This is like stupid wrestling 101. Why would you say yes to him first off?
And then we wonder why Adam Pearce is losing control to Sonya. Why Sonya Deville is not seeing an opportunity to come and seize control because Adam Pearce is all over the fucking place.
Sonya should run things.
Yeah, she should.
Pearce is just like, you guys do what you want.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get a sub. Why did Strowman get a chance to challenge again when he already lost? Why did you even have the triple threat? Why not throw Randy Orton in now too? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Let's have a little fun here.
Okay.
I'm just gonna pull up I'm just gonna pull up a stat here. Let's have a look. See. Well, okay, because I was kind of curious. Well, okay, look, I mean, Braun Strowman so far in the year of our Lord 2021 has a 50-50 win-loss record. That's not great.
No.
That doesn't ring championship challenger material. Last year, he had a 74% win rate, 86% in 2019. Remember back then when he was really hot and should have won all the titles, but instead they gave him that goofy green belt from Saudi Arabia? That was the moment that you had to pull this trigger on Braun Strowman. Not now when he's just, and we were talking about his getup. You remember that he looks like a gardener?
Yes.
But I think that he looks like what Vince McMahon thinks a train engineer looks like. Honestly, I think that's what it is.
He's never been on a train. Vince McMahon has
No,
never
but
been on
it's
a
the
train.
I know he's never been. He is the train. Choo choo. I'm. By the way, I'm really glad they didn't. They dropped the goofy.
What do you mean? That was the most entertaining thing about him. He adds absolutely nothing to this match, and the fact that he keeps getting title opportunities is completely baffling to me. It makes no sense.
It's the only thing that's more baffling was Braun Strowman fighting for everyone who's ever been bullied at WrestleMania.
Yeah, because we all believe that,
I mean, I can get behind the idea that maybe as a kid, like, he's huge, and then people poke fun at him because, he's different. I can understand. But when you literally call the guy a monster among men, right? How am I supposed to buy into the fact that suddenly he's relatable to me? You've never made him relatable. Yeah. He flipped semi-trucks. He tried to kill Roman Reigns on multiple occasions. He brought an entire stage rigging down on Brock Lesnar. That guy's not relatable to me. He does shit that I'm not supposed to understand how he's pulling it off. Now suddenly, I was bullied too. Fuck off. I don't know. That's not how you get him behind me. Jesus. But I think that's how WWE, that's the only way they can build baby faces now.
I know.
Oh, we're against bullies. A baby face hates bullies. I think that's how they figured they have, we'll baby face him. Let's say he's been bullied. Fuck.
Yeah, well, that's what they did with Lana.
That's what they did with Lana. That's what they did with Nia Jax years ago with Alexa. And Alexa still turned out to be more entertaining.
Always.
She was still much more fun.
Truthfully, even the Drew and Bobby feud is getting a little stale.
Sure, because it's been on for a while now.
I think it's time for all of them to find new feuds. Mm-hmm. And that's why I tweeted out Keith Lee. To me, Keith Lee versus Bobby makes sense. Or even a returning Bray. Anybody else but Drew and Braun again? I'm so tired of it.
Would you dare say that WWE wouldn't have this issue if they build new stars?
Don't get me on that rant.
And the thing is that and that's the thing is that I really think, I think Bobby Lashley as world champion for them is fantastic. Mm-hmm. I was saying that Drew looks the part and acts the part. Bobby Lashley as well, man. He comes in and he's dressed. He's got the sunglasses on. You're like, this guy is a prize fighter. He just, he has that look that it's fantastic. Like that, this guy can never not be in the main event picture, not be in the main picture moving forward. Right. Yeah. And if it was me, I'd have him keep the belt. I'd have him hang on to the belt and get some challengers in over the summer and discreetly just have Drew be taken off TV. And you don't need an excuse. You don't need to have him injured out. And absence makes the heart grow fonder. Right. So then when Drew returns, we're all going to get excited. We're like, fuck yeah, Drew Mac is back, you know?
Drew's carried the company quite a bit on his back the last couple of years. So I think it's time he gets a break.
But here's another thing that we've also heard. It's like they want I'm trying to say too many things at once. You know, one of the rumors as to why Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre opened WrestleMania on night one was to get that excited crowd pop of finally seeing some live wrestling and then having Drew come out, which is legitimate. The guy's entire reign, a very good title reign, was all behind closed doors. Yeah. You know, the Thunderdome, empty arenas.
Yeah.
Why not give the guy the satisfaction of that? Why not give him the satisfaction of being champion at SummerSlam, right? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, because he did carry a lot in 2020 when they had at some times some pretty questionable creative for him. He's always risen above, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, what happens in this match, Kristen? Who wins?
I think Lashley retains, and I just hope that we're not left with this weird Mobius strip of feuds over and over again, that we can just move on to something new.
Who did you say retains? I think it cut out a bit. Lashley, okay. Yeah. I'm torn. This is where, like, my heart says Bobby Lashley should retain. I think you really, really should retain and give us some fresh new matches. I think it's with the people that they have built as possible contenders. It will all be running through the same people with Drew, you know? But at least we're in agreement that I think we're in agreement at least that Braun's not winning.
Yeah. And
Braun's taking the pin.
Yeah. Yes. I agree with that. Yeah.
I think it's the only thing. It's the only Brew. If they ever become a tag team, if Drew and Bobby Lashley ever become a tag team, they should call themselves Brew.
They can be baristas.
Yeah, exactly.
Green aprons.
The biggest fucking baristas, you know?
Yeah.
They come with the espresso machine and they just chuck it at people.
And they say espresso just to annoy me.
They're heels. If they do that, they're heels.
Well, most baristas are heels.
True.
Let's be honest.
I don't remember what I wanted to say. No, Bobby and Drew they're two super protected guys. Like, they're very, very, very protected, and I think that's going to continue. I think that's why Braun is here. Yeah. I really think that's why Braun is here. But I also think Braun's going to stink up the joint.
Yeah.
It's not very good. No. But he's homegrown WWE. I want to say hello to DGMC, who is in the chat and enjoying our Brew comments. So overall, that's the card. Kristen, do you think we're in for something special? Do you think it's going to be very out of the ordinary, or is it just going to be run of the mill? What's your overall feeling on Backlash?
I think it's going to be the monthly pay-per-view from WWE. I think it's going to be.
That says it all right there.
Run of the mill. It's not their top four, you know, so it'll be interesting to watch. There'll be good matches for sure, but it's not like I'll be glued to the screen by any means.
Well, I think this is a one match card. To be perfectly honest, I think outside of Roman versus Cesaro, there is Bianca and Bayley should be fun too. Okay, let me dial it back a bit there, Hayes.
Back it up. Yeah, calm down.
I think it's a two match card. But as much as I think Bianca and Bayley is going to be enjoyable, I'm really looking forward to Roman and Cesaro. I think there's, like I said earlier, I think Cesaro is going to turn it up. I think Roman is going to be very generous as well. Like I think that's going to be the match that's going to steal the show. Quite frankly, the rest is poo. But hey, one thing that is probably not going to be poo, and if you really want to get into something interesting before Backlash tomorrow evening, over on independentwrestling.tv, Beyond Wrestling and Women's Wrestling Revolution are putting on a card, Kristen, and it's going to be a good time tomorrow at out of Providence, Rhode Island. The company was in Providence, Rhode Island. I don't remember exactly where they're holding this card here. It's 5 p.m. So you're able to watch this before jumping into the pre-show for WWE. Big card, lots of stuff happening. Kristen, do you want to tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, well, Women's Wrestling Revolution started about 2016, and they had really busy years in 2017, 2018, and then their last event was almost 2 years ago.
Really?
So, like half a year before the pandemic started. So they've kind of just faltered. They've always had incredible women's matches, and they've had almost everybody on their, Chris Statlander, Casey Catal, Alicia Edwards, Solo, Faye Jackson, Layla Hirsch, anybody you can think of, they've been on their stuff. So they always produce really great matches, and so I'm really happy that Beyond Wrestling's kind of given them that boost and that they're back.
Yeah,
it'll be a really great time. Yeah,
for sure. So, and they're putting on their first card, like Kristen said, in about 2 years. We can go down the card really quickly if we want, just to give you guys an idea. We're going to have, probably the big match that we're really excited for. Willow Nightingale, indie stalwart, recent member, having tryouts on AEW Dark. She's been there. She's taken on, one of our favorites, one of my favorites, an incredible human being, Trisha Dora, who was also on ROH Women's Wrestling Wednesday, Women's of Wednesdays Wrestling. Trisha Dora and Willow Nightingale is at the top of this card here, which is really cool. You got Delmi Exo versus Davien there as well. Just recently added, Ashley Vox is going to be taking on Jody Threat. And as much as I like to talk about, Trisha Dora, because for multiple reasons, Jody Threat is amazing. And there's not many women out there, Kristen, who wrestle like she does.
Mm-mm. She's a star.
Yeah, she really is.
And Ashley Vox has got the experience to make it a really good match. It's going to be amazing.
We've got Becca taking on Erica Lee. Another one of my favorites, Riley Shepard taking on Tina San Antonio. It's going to be Riley Shepard's birthday tomorrow on top of that.
Wow.
Happy
birthday, Riley.
Well, tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah, the day of. Because I wished her happy birthday before time a couple of weeks ago, and she told me that I screwed up. And I was like, okay, I'll try.
So you're
again.
feeling a little, okay, got it.
Megan Bain is going to be taking on Ashley D'Ambrose, and an intergender tag team match, the Kings of the District, which is, of course, made up of Eel O'Neill and Jordan Blade, be taking on McCoy and Hatfield, Molly McCoy and Boomer Hatfield from Chikara, from Chikara, of course. So they're going to be on that card as well. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait for it. I mean, it's such a killer card. So a lot of good stuff here.
And it was put together fairly quickly. And like we said, they were still adding, Jody Threat was added yesterday. So, I mean, this is a lot of spontaneity, lots of good stuff coming on. Man, the indies are far from dead. So if you guys have a subscription to IWTV, hey, go ahead and use it and check it out. 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Beyond Wrestling and Women's Wrestling Revolution should be a good time. I'm excited about it. Should be a good time.
They're all bangers. They all have a lot of potential.
And of course, well, we were very, very happy at Bell to Bells to be able to be associated, to sponsor the event. Very proud of it. Glad to be able to do our little part here. Bell to Bells is all about Kristen Ashly. That's where you can find most of her work. Kristen, why don't you let the people know where they can follow you and so on and so forth?
I'm on Twitter at Kristen Ashly. Bell to Bells at Bell to Bells. I've got some cool stuff coming down the works with PWI. Really cool stuff later in the year. Keep an eye out. But I just started a new recurring column with them. So the first issue with the column will be out next week. And it's a really cool issue. I also did a feature with stats comparing wrestling prior to COVID and then during COVID.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm really proud of this work. So make sure you get the digital copy next Thursday.
It comes out next Thursday on the PWI next Thursday.
Yep.
Look at PWI making the big moves, getting Kristen Ashly, Jordan Grace, there.
Yeah. I'm totally at the same level as Jordan.
Oh,
Grace.
yes, you are. Yes.
Don't tell Jordan Grace that he said that, okay?
Yeah, please don't. She'll come.
Don't tell her.
No, she's gonna beat me up, and my God, she'll be. I'll be an easy victory. But follow Kristen, and Kristen, thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate you. It had been a while. Like it'd been since I think we were talking about it. You were my first guest.
Yeah.
On a prediction show 2 years ago.
2018.
That's crazy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I apologize for all the tech issues. Again, I take complete blame.
What tech issues? By the magic of editing, there won't be any tech issues.
Right. So those poor souls, those lovely souls that stuck it out live.
That's what we're going to do, though. We're going to thank everyone who joined us here today, stuck through it all, and who hung out the entire way. That's amazing. I appreciate it. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for taking time out of your Saturday to join us live. And thank you for watching on demand whenever you can on your favorite podcast application as well. Always appreciate it. If it's your first time hanging out here, hey, why don't you consider a subscription? Kind of stuff is really cool. But I hope you guys enjoy WWE Wrestlemania Backlash tomorrow. Hope you enjoy Beyond Wrestling and Women's Wrestling Revolution 2. Take it easy, everyone.